Alrighty, this We the People News. Not attorney, not giving legal advice. Educational purposes only. Never look straight forward, always look around you. Be able to protect yourself by any means necessary. Siri. Alright? Use that Second Amendment. Arm yourself with that knowledge. Alright, so my last video is talking about money and all that. Now, it's the interesting thing is, anything over 20 bucks, we are allowed to have a jury. Okay? What? DOJ argues that has no right to a real judge. Okay? Don't have a right to a judicial branch, only administrative. Let's get this clear for some of you guys that hasn't done any research. A real judge is judicial. A fake judge is a magistrate. Okay? Administrative. So your property tax is administrative. You're not seeing a real judge and jury. And you're not seeing a real jury. It's trial by jury, not jury trial. So you don't even get to see a real jury. Real jury. You don't get to see that. All right. Okay? Let's see, there's something else down here too. Where the Supreme Court upheld laws forcing people, and I'm surprised they put people in there. It's usually person, but I'm surprised they put people in there, to accept paper currency rather than gold or silver as payment for debt. People, when you start actually looking at these things, their codes don't say that. All right? It never says you're taking care of a debt. It's giving them an IOU. Your debt is never paid. You're fooled into believing it's paid. All right? And I think that's part of the problem right there, that it's not really a lawful money, so therefore it can't be your property because it belongs to the banksters. And so, you know, I don't even know where I was going to go with that. To be honest, I got sidetracked when I got thunderstorms and under tornado watch and all that, so I'm trying to do both things at once, and I can't do that. I had to concentrate on one thing. But either case it may be, you cannot pay debt with debt. They're lying to you. You're paying debt with debt, but it can never be paid off. Okay? Ask your credit card agency. All right, let's go. That took way too long.
Are beside the point. And at this point, I would argue, yeah, that's beside the point, because here we are at this moment. If the government wants to confiscate $50,000 from your business, you must have the chance to argue your defense to an impartial judge and jury, not an agency bureaucrat. And that should be basic. You know, the Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791. It's been around for over 230 years. And it should be basic that that is just known. Now the DOJ is arguing Sane has no right to a real judge and jury because the government was only trying to take his money, not his property, which they have now tried to legally argue one is not the other. They claimed that fiat currency is a legal fiction.
The United States can pay any debt it has because we can always print money to do that. So there is zero probability of default.
And that the government can easily destroy as created.
Because apparently, fiat currency is a legal fiction that the government can as easily destroy as create.
Well, that's actually true.
Ain't that a bitch?
Lest anyone miss the implicit connection to the history of the gold standard, DOJ's footnote prominently cited the legal tender cases where the Supreme Court upheld laws forcing people to accept paper currency rather than gold and silver as a payment for debts. This was an argument for taking Saints $50,000 without a trial before a real judge and jury.
With that, duly got with honor.
But the same argument can be used to justify all manner of mischief. If your money's not your property, what's to stop the government from just seizing all of it tomorrow for any reason it gives? Because yes, when taken out to its logical conclusion, that is where you end up. This doesn't make any sense. Like, it doesn't make sense as an argument. He says, let me reassure you that DOJ's argument is wrong. The due process clause applies to life, liberty, and property, and the Supreme Court has repeatedly applied that clause to money. It follows that since money is neither life nor liberty, it must be property. To be sure, DOJ's arguments have a force. As a philosophical critique of government taxation in the monetary system, they may also highlight legitimate reasons.
No, I actually agree a lot of ways on that too, even though the codes say otherwise. If you use your time and labor to get that paper fiat became yours. They put it in the public and in the private for personal use. I didn't make up the rules, you know, but if I'm going to use my time and labor, I need to be confiscated for it, right? I need money for my time and labor, whether it's gold or silver, or alleged. And if they're going to create this fiat, they might as well make it of value like gold and silver and quit kissing the Federal Reserve's ass.
Part of your wealth in gold, or for some cryptocurrency. But for constitutional purposes, to borrow a phrase from the DOJ, the arguments are a flop. It's not just a bad argument for the people's side, it's a bad argument for the government to be arguing either, because if fiat currency is a legal fiction and the government can just destroy and create it, which is actually true, but if they're going to use that as a legal basis for just taking everybody's money whenever they feel like it, then why are they taking it at all?
And that's not actually true. They can quit using it. However, the banksters are the one that can just say, nah, we're done. We got everything we want in life. No more fiats for anybody. You know, so even though I know what she's talking about, okay, the fact still remains, government don't even know the money. And they do not create it. And the Federal Reserve is for the banksters. Okay? So that being said, the banksters are the one that can end everything, not government. But government can put gold and silver back in, and we can go back into putting our gold and silver back under the mattress and quit using these fucking banks.
That smells like bullshit, right? Why even take it? If they don't even care about it and they can just create as much as they want, why are they taking anybody's money? See, and then you start going down that road and you start saying, yeah, why did you set up an agency with thousands upon thousands of pages of code? It's all about taking it. If taking it is not, there's no point in taking it because it's basically just a fiction, doesn't count as property. You don't have to go down that road very far to see how the entire thing starts to fall apart on itself fast. I don't know that they want people thinking too hard about these concepts. But it's too late for that. They already put this into a legal brief, so...
Two things occur to me on hearing a summary of this story, the things that the government lawyer admitted in court. I mean, number one, does this negate the ability to prosecute people who steal and thieve? Because they put people in jail all the time for that. It's one of the most basic crimes we have in our society. And two, if the government has argued that they can steal money because they create it, are they just flat out admitting that they've created a tool of enslavement through money? Are they just flat out admitting that money is a tool of enslavement?
Ain't that a bitch?
As some of us have surmised, albeit slowly, This is astounding. It doesn't stand on its face.
Right? Don't they put people in prison for child support? And it's not really for the mom and dads. It's always for the state or the federal government. They're the ones that's putting the mom or dad in jail for not taking care of a debt with a debt of a debt of a debt.
Logically, unless those are the conclusions that we are slaves of the government and money's the tool of enslavement and that anyone can steal without consequence. So,
Ain't that a bitch?
A federal court will soon decide whether to uphold Sane's right to a trial before an impartial judge and jury, and hopefully the court will agree that money is property and an agency bureaucrat is not an impartial judge. Because if they don't, and they agree to all of this stuff, then what they're basically admitting is we have no taxation without representation. Our monetary system is basically just government-imposed financial slavery. And the whole system will implode on this argument if they freaking try to make it and uphold it. The entire system, not just private property, property ownership rights, but also due process, some of the most fundamental inherent rights that we as Americans have, will all be destroyed if this gets upheld.
And I'll go with furthermore. If this is the case, well, aren't we all, with or without food stamps and Medicaid and all that, aren't we on welfare? So all you people out there talking about people that's on welfare, you are on welfare as the same as they are. Just saying. Welfare is still welfare.
Essentially. I can't believe that this is the level that they're actually trying to argue this. But the fact that they are, and the reason I wanted to show it to you, is that's the level we're actually at. We're actually at this level. So this is what they're trying to say. They're trying to make legal cases for us going back to purely bureaucratic trials. So they're really just show trials. They're not trials at all. Because it's not an impartial judge and jury. It's really not based on what anyone would consider the rule of law. And they're basically just trying to justify theft, really, by saying, well, we created it so we can take it from you. So, I mean, there's no stick.
Yeah, it's theft of your time and labor. Okay, so she wasn't too far. She's talking about money in general, theft of money. But I'm talking about your time and labor for that money. And if it's not property, then it's theft of your time and labor. All right? Which is enslavement, people. So you may look like you have fancy stuff and billionaires and this, that, here, and there. But if it's unlawful stuff, it's unlawful stuff. And you can't make a right into a wrong and a wrong into a right. And if you are doing that, then judge, you have unclean hands and you need to go wash them and go wash your dirty laundry.
There, I mean, they could just, if they can say it here, they can say it anywhere, pretty much. I mean,
and isn't that a Ponzi scheme? Just asking.
and I don't think this is going to be upheld either. I agree with the lawyer writing here for reason, but it's the point that that's the level the government is at trying to make. I mean, they're destroying themselves. They're destroying themselves. Do you know how many people I have seen in just the last week talking about 1776, talking about tax revolts, talking about no taxation without representation? I can't even count to you the number of posts I've seen of people who are saying, I don't see how it's okay for us to have to pay. When none of this has been accountable for so long, people want refunds. They want refunds for decades. They're angry. People are angry. People are putting up signs in the streets. People are making videos about how pissed off they are.
I would like all of the income taxes that I've paid since I've been alive and working to be returned to me ASAP.
And now you have this level.
And there we go. If everybody went to go get a job, and everybody, we got to assemble. We got to assemble. We got to assemble. People, that's the First Amendment. Assemble. Now, when you go to the job and they tell you to fill out that paper form for taxes, and tell them, no, 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 And then all these jobs go downhill and they start crashing, and the government has to change their ways. There will be pain and suffering. It's just going to happen. But because we've been tricked, and now, due to our ignorance and letting them do these things, we must pay the piper.
Here. It's like these people have forgotten where government authority comes from. It comes from the people. If the people legitimize you as an authority, that's where you get your power from. Otherwise, if you're not legitimized by the people, then you can't authorize yourself. I mean, that's the founding documents of this country. Please go read them. Go read the Declaration of Independence, where it explicitly states exactly what government is and where government powers are derived from. Go read that again. Like, it's very, very...
They have authority to create money, all right, but it's supposed to be gold and silver. But they're not supposed to lease it out to another corporation to create money, because that gives the other people, like the banks, the authority over our government.
Clear that this is not how it works. So we're in a pretty serious situation right now, because this is the level that we're...
All right, long enough. Truth Stream Media, okay? If you want to hear it without my interruptions, all more power to y'all. Diesel We the People News. Bye, y'all.